now we're going to start with thinking about shape. What's the difference between a line and a shape? Well, what is a line, first of all? Go ahead, Hudson.
A line is a straight line.
Right, a dot is a point. A line is a point, like a dot, that moves in space in some direction. Vanessa?
A line, it like never stops.
Right, it's a continuous. Unless you're drawing a short line and then it can stop.
Like you,
Right.
from the long line that goes forever, you can just snip it and then you have
A piece of it.
normal.
Right. And we talked about the different types of line and shape when we had this chart. So we talked about the dot family, the circle family. What's the difference between a dot and a circle according to this, Vanessa?
A dot is filled in and a circle is not filled in.
Very good. Then we talked about lines. There's different kinds, like the straight line family. And that can be horizontal, vertical, diagonal, parallel. And then we talked about the curved line family. So whenever a straight line starts to bend, it becomes a curved line. We call it a curved line. And then the last one was the angle line family. Who can describe an angle line? Maddie?
Like zigzags or humps.
Yes, zigzag. So if you were describing the direction the line is going, what would you say?
Up and down.
Okay, first up and then down, right. And it's not like a curve that goes up and down, but it makes a sharp corner, right? Right, so that would be an angle line.
Like triangles.
Okay, so in our still life drawings, we had some circles, like in the center of the domino, those little dots in the domino. Or if you filled them in with white, you could call them a dot, right? We had some angle lines along the edge of the cup. We had curved lines at the top and bottom of the cup. And straight lines, maybe they were diagonal, maybe they were vertical. Whichever way you laid your crayon, we had some straight lines with the crayon. So we used all those different types of lines. So now we described that a line is a dot that moves through space in a certain direction or in any way. Okay, what's the difference between a line and a shape? When does a line become a shape? Ava?
Like a line, you have to like bring it back and touch itself. You have to close it. It can't stay open or it's not a shape.
Perfect. It's a closed shape. So it's a line that comes back and meets up to itself again. Right? Yes, Ava?
It's like a dog catching its tail.
Like a dog catching its tail, yeah. Good. And if it doesn't, if it's slightly open, then it can't be called a shape. It's just a line. Okay. So a shape is an area that is enclosed by line. So it's like trapped by a line. So you can think of it as like a rope around something or a fence around something. But if the fence is open, cows and chickens can get out, right? So it has to be closed to be a shape. Okay, we're going to start talking about positive shapes and negative shapes. So step one, I want you to, with the hand that you don't write with, I want you to make an okay sign. Hunky dory, okay. Okay, now I want you to look at the shape that is trapped inside your fingers. Would you describe it as a nice even circle? I wouldn't. No. So what would you say?
A lemon.
Kind of like a lemon because it's kind of pointed at one end, isn't it? Right. And mine would be a pretty bumpy lemon. Is yours kind of bumpy?
No.
Like it's kind of irregular? because of where your joints are, where your fingers bend, it dips in. So I want you to think about that shape. And then I think I'll have you draw that shape because that is called the negative shape. If you drew your whole hand, that's the object itself, and that's called the positive shape. The area in between, or the background of something, is the negative space. Have you all talked about that before? Have you heard of negative space or negative shape? Same thing. Yes, Ellen?
I think that whenever I think of negative shapes, is like a camera lens. Whenever you focus on something, and then you can focus on the background.
Okay, right. You might have the object itself in focus in a photograph or the background in focus. I'm going to show you a few more things, and then we'll start trying to draw some shapes. Okay, for instance, I drew this vase. If the vase was the positive shape, what does the negative space look like to anybody? A face. So there's a face this way and a face this way. So is it a vase or a face? It's whichever you're focusing on. So the positive and the negative are identifiable shapes. Okay? So we're going to be talking about positive and negative shapes. Yes?
You could like make it faces with the you could make the faces with the vase in the background.
Yes, you could. Let me just show you. I was having fun with making some positive and negative shapes. I'm not sure which one to show you first because I made so many. But I traced my hand over a circle, and then I cut it out, but I cut out the negative shapes out of the white. No, the positive shapes out of white. Positive shapes were cut out of white, except when I came to the circle. This is more complicated. We're not going to do this one. So I cut out the white shapes, glued them onto black paper. Then I took the black paper scraps and glued them on.
That was both of your hands.
It was just one piece of white paper, one piece of black paper. And then cut them into positive and negative shapes.
Now I know what my hands look like.
Okay, so there's that. I think before that I did this that you can see is it looks like a tree, maybe in the moon. So it's more of a silhouette. It could be.
Down, it could be the roots of the plant.
Yeah, roots. Sure.
It could be a flower.
Anyway, that was the same thing, and I haven't glued this is just the white negative spaces that I glued onto the black. And I haven't finished cutting out the other pieces. I didn't finish that one. Then I did this one, where it's a person within a square, right? It's like a person is in a box, and this looks like a girl with a ponytail. She's pushing against the walls. So I cut out the white and put it onto black. And I kept all the scraps. Every scrap is in there so that I could keep the white scrap, the center part, and put it on a black one. So the white is the negative space, right? Because the girl is the object. Yes?
How long did it take you to do all of these?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how long it took. It took a while because I was having so much fun. Oh, here's the rest of the tree that I had started. So I can finish that. Then I thought, what other shapes have negative spaces? Well, here's a simpler hand one. I started with a rectangle, and then I traced around my hand the part that would fit in the rectangle. And then I cut out, first I cut out the white negative shapes and glued them back to a rectangle. And then I used the positive shape and glued it on a rectangle. Vanessa?
Hey, please go to the bathroom.
What?
Hey, please go to the bathroom.
Okay. Then I thought, what else? Can you recognize that shape?
Scissors.
Yeah, scissors. And it's fun to see the cut out the negative shapes. So that's what we're going to be working on. We'll have an index card, and we're going to draw on the side that has lines, and it has to touch all four edges. And then you number the negative spaces. And then you cut it out and put it back onto a plain black piece of paper. But you put the glue on the side that has stripes on it. Yes?
So are we making that person or are we making whatever?
I hadn't decided yet whether we would do scissors or people or hands. So I might give you a choice between scissor, person, in any position, or hands. Yes, Ava.
Do you have girl and boy people or just boys?
What?
The people, do you have girls and boys or just boys?
This one's a boy, and this other one with ponytail would be a girl. Why?
I don't know, because if I did a person, I thought I could do a girl.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, any other questions so far?